the saga of my brother's cancer scare, and the big bad grandma. Hello, I'm new here and have many stories to share about my grandma. She's a punt, to put it simply. I have many stories to share about her, some my own and some my mom's. She was the definition of mother-in-law from hell, but that's not here or there. But I have a story that is making my blood boil. She will now be called E.G., entitled Grandma, because I refuse to acknowledge her as my flesh and blood. Recently, my older brother, he's 22, developed a strange lump in his neck. This has been a month-long ordeal, so I will begin at the beginning. Upon receiving this news, my brother's first reaction was just to call my mother and dad, allowing them to spread the news if they wanted to. My mom told her mom so they could send him food, clothes, money, etc. My entitled grandma didn't become aware of this until about a week or so, mostly because she wasn't going to do shit but pester after the initial acknowledgement of the possibility of cancer. She proceeded to call my brother and yell at him for not telling her first, and how he's so selfish for keeping this diagnosis from her, a nurse. I find this stupid because she's a CNA, no insults to CNAs. You guys do wonderful work, and my family is a family of nurses and doctors. My brother is going to medical school himself. Not to mention that her being a nurse does not entitle her to know information about something going on with us. We didn't want to tell the extended family yet because we weren't sure if it was cancerous or a cyst. We didn't want to create unnecessary worry. Throughout the month, she had been calling and texting him nonstop, and when he didn't respond, she would blow up my phone and my other brother's phone. I don't live with my brother. Admittedly, I don't have much contact with him, so I don't know why she called me 45 times within 2 days. I had to block her number so I could get through school without my phone constantly buzzing in my pocket. She finally stopped when my dad stepped in and forced her to stop. At least, we hadn't heard from her much during that time, so I thought. We had to go over to where my dad lives so he could have it removed. Insurance problems were the reason we couldn't stay in town. It was just supposed to be my dad, my mom, and me. I was mostly there for my mom because I didn't want her to be alone. When we let family know, she decided to call my brother up and demanded he go to Afing Mayo Rochester for a second opinion. We don't even have the first opinion. All we know is that the lump has to be taken out. It hasn't even been biopsied or sent to pathology yet. And she kept insulting the hospital we were going to, and that Rochester is so much closer. It's not. In fact, it's farther. We were going to Afing Bellin Hospital. This made my dad angry because he works at the hospital and it's Afing Bellin. My dad calls her and tells her to shut the F up. Silence. We were hoping that would be it. It wasn't. The initial trip was going to be a 3.5 days trip. Leave Tuesday night to the hospital and leave Friday afternoon. It was just going to be us four. However, in true entitled grandma fashion, she decided to butt into the situation once more. She announces on Afing Facebook that she will be going to her grandbaby's surgery to be there for him, and that they should pray for her, not him. We were not aware she was coming until that announcement, a day before we had to leave. We sucked things up and just try to keep things nice and stress-free for my brother. When we arrived, it was smooth at first. The first night, we got dinner and discussed plans for the next day. My brother had a CT at 9:15 and then a consultation for surgery at 11:30. Afterwards, we were going to wander around the city and enjoy ourselves. The first part of our plans went well. We got up, got breakfast, and then went to the CT appointment. I was originally just going to meet my stepmom there, and we were going to go shopping and get some things for post-surgery. However, entitled grandma met us at the hospital. At the first appointment, she began to demand to take my mom's spot in the appointment room, saying she had more of a right in that room because she knew more than my mom. My mother, the mother of my brother. My brother put his foot down before my mom could say anything in return to her, and that shut her up a bit. She pouted in the corner while my brother and my parents went into the appointment with him. The appointment took about an hour or so. My stepmom and I began getting ready to go shopping for a bit, catching up and deciding where to go. Entitled grandma steps in and demands us to stay or to invite her along. We deny, saying that we wanted it to just be us because I haven't seen my stepmom in a while, and then the conversation begins to change for the worse. She began to call me a disappointment for not thinking of my grandmother and how I'm such an ungrateful brat. She would kill to spend another moment with her grandmother, and you never know. She may just drop dead, and then she started demanding why I didn't defend her and why I blocked her. I'm going to be honest. After years of abuse from this hag, and the burnout of high school, and the fact that it was 9 in the effing morning, I was not in a good mood. I replied in a short tone, "If you drop dead right now, I couldn't care less," and turned on my heel with my stepmom and went shopping. After the CT, we decided to go out as a family for a little bit and spend some time together until the next appointment. Entitled grandma takes this opportunity to take control. She begins to direct us to places she wants to go, places she thinks my brother would like, and she keeps asking my brother to buy things for her. After all, this situation is just as hard on her as it is on my brother. I keep holding my tongue, simply guiding my brother away. My stepmom and I double-team entitled grandma whenever she starts pestering my brother over the smallest things, like why she wasn't allowed in the appointment. We separated them quickly and ended the conversation from the beginning. Finally, it comes to the second appointment, and we go. And instead of shopping, I decided to spend the appointment time doing schoolwork, since I was missing a few days. Not to mention, I was just so emotionally strained from trying to parent an effing boomer. Entitled grandma began to pester me again. She was a bit nicer this time, asking me about school, etc. I began talking to her about my plans for my senior year and plans after college. She then began to try and tell me what I should do with my life. I should follow in my father's footsteps. I should become a respiratory therapist, or better yet, become a CNA like her. I said no, and that I planned to become either a psychologist or a physical therapist. And that was final. She pouts a bit and then starts telling me about classes I should take for my senior year, and that my senior year would be too hard for me. She says that sometimes I'm a bit slow and may not be able to handle calculus and physics at the same time. I bit my tongue a bit as I just ignored her. She then got angry at me for ignoring her. I honestly wish I had some witty things to say to her, but all I could muster was, "This is why no one wants you around." That shut her up for a little while. Finally, lunchtime came around, and we went out. My brother's choice, of course. My entitled grandma began to complain about the choice of restaurant, and how Cancun was trashy and the food wasn't good. When we arrive, she then begins to try and tell us what to order. We ignore her, of course. However, when she heard what I ordered enchiladas, she began on her wonderful tirade. She began to talk to me about how I should watch my cholesterol and my weight. She then said, "You know, a fat physical therapist is a bad physical therapist." I stared at her a bit before I simply moved seats, essentially leaving her alone at the end of the table. When a waiter comes over to get our orders, she then tries to change my order into a salad, saying I didn't need all those carbs. "I'm in a bulk right now, and I want my effing carbs." My mom stepped in and simply told her to shut the F up. Entitled grandma was most likely going to protest, but my dad gave her the glare of doom, and she shut up. She remained quiet, pouting, until it was time to go back to the hotels and sleep. Entitled grandma began to pester me again to stay with her at the hotel. I wasn't going to. I didn't plan on it, and I did not want my mom alone. I set my foot down, saying I wasn't going anywhere with her. She proceeded to grab my arm and tried to drag me away, saying I was a brat and should listen to my elders. I simply pulled my arms out and called her a effing hag that should learn when someone wants her to go away. After that, I went back to our hotel and went to bed. The next day, we learned that she went home because she knows when she's not wanted, doubtful, and sent all of us a long string of texts telling us how she was so disappointed in all of us for not respecting her and being so mean. She was so stressed with the possibility of my brother having cancer, and she just wanted to spend this time with her family, so I ignored her. The rest of the trip went well, and my brother's surgery went well. Luckily, it was benign, and now he has a wicked scar from where his lymph node was removed, and I still have entitled grandma blocked. So, entitled grandma decides to make my brother's cancer scare about her and inflicting psychological damage on all of us. If you guys want more stories of entitled grandma, let me know because I have a ton. I do apologize for any formatting or misspellings. Let's listen to some comments and answers from the author before the end of the video.
I'd like to be charitable and chalk this up to dementia, but from your story it sounds like she's always been this way. What a piece of work.
I wish it was dementia, because then I'd have some pity for her, but she's been like this long before my dad was even born.
Good Lord, feel sorry for Grandpa.
I do too. We like to joke that she's the reason everyone in her family is an alcoholic, because it's true.
Wow, she's a peach. Isn't she? It's nice to hear stories where people actually sticks up for themselves and says things that need to be said. Good for you for sticking up for you and your family.
When you've dealt with her for as long as I've had you, get bold and learn not to take ish. Thank you for listening to this story. Let me know in the comments if you agree with the community. What would you have done in that situation? And for those who stayed to the end, thank you. If you like this type of content, feel free to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Take care of yourself and your loved ones. See you soon.